February 9, 2026. Roman Reigns got angry and made a brutal attack on CM Punk. Roman Reigns just crossed a line that can never be uncrossed, and what he did to CM Punk on February 9, 2026 wasn't wrestling, it was attempted murder on live television. The attack was so vicious, so unhinged, so absolutely brutal that WWE cut the cameras 3 separate times. Medical staff were screaming for Roman to stop, and CM Punk is now in a hospital with injuries so severe that his career might be over. And here's what's going to make you absolutely lose your mind. Roman did this because Punk said something backstage that exposed a secret so devastating about the tribal chief that Roman's entire legacy is now in jeopardy. Because this wasn't a worked shoot or a storyline beatdown. This was real rage from a man who just watched his carefully constructed empire crumble, and he took out years of frustration, paranoia, and desperation on CM Punk's body in an assault that is WWE facing potential legal action and Roman Reigns possibly facing criminal charges. February 9 started like any other Monday Night Raw. The fallout from last week's shocking alliance between Roman, Rock, Cody, and Jacob Fatu was the main storyline. CM Punk was scheduled to address the betrayal and his injuries in a sit-down interview segment. Everything seemed controlled, professional, scripted. But 30 minutes before Raw went live, something happened backstage that changed everything. CM Punk was in the trainer's room getting his ribs taped up when Roman Reigns walked in. No cameras. No producers. Just Roman and Punk, alone, for what witnesses say was a conversation that lasted less than 3 minutes before it exploded into violence. According to multiple sources who were nearby, Punk confronted Roman about the final Dynasty alliance. But Punk didn't just question the storyline, he questioned Roman's manhood. He allegedly said something that cut so deep into Roman's psyche that the tribal chief completely snapped. What did Punk say? Sources claim Punk told Roman, "You needed The Rock to come back and save you because you know you can't carry this company alone anymore. You're not the tribal chief, you're The Rock's little b***tch, just like you've always been." Roman didn't respond with words. He responded with a Superman punch that legitimately broke Punk's nose on impact. Blood immediately started pouring from Punk's face, and instead of stopping, Roman continued the assault. He threw Punk through a medical cart, grabbed a steel folding chair, and started beating Punk with it while trainers and backstage personnel tried desperately to pull him off. But here's what makes this absolutely terrifying: Roman fought through 6 people trying to restrain him. He threw a trainer into a wall. He shoved a referee so hard the ref hit his head and had to be checked for concussion. Roman was in a complete berserker rage that nobody could control. Security finally arrived and managed to separate Roman from Punk, but the damage was already done. CM Punk was on the ground, bleeding from his face, holding his ribs, barely conscious. And Roman was screaming at him, "You don't talk about my family. You don't talk about my legacy. I will end you." WWE officials immediately went into crisis mode. They had to decide, do we acknowledge this on air? Do we pretend it didn't happen? Do we turn this into a storyline or treat it as a legitimate workplace violence incident? WWE decided to acknowledge it, but they clearly weren't prepared for what happened next. About 45 minutes into Raw, they showed a pre-taped segment of Roman Reigns in his locker room, supposedly cooling down from the backstage incident. But you could see it in his eyes, Roman was still absolutely furious. Then CM Punk's music hit. The crowd went nuclear because everyone knew Punk was injured from the backstage assault. But Punk walked out with his face bandaged, ribs clearly hurting, and a microphone in his hand with murder in his eyes. Punk got in the ring and said, "Roman Reigns, you can attack me backstage like a coward. You can hide behind your family and your alliances, but you can't hide from the truth. And the truth is that you're so insecure, so terrified of being exposed as weak, that the second someone challenges your fragile ego, you respond with violence because you have nothing else." The crowd was hanging on every word. This wasn't a promo, this was a man speaking from genuine anger and pain. Punk continued, "You want to talk about family? About legacy? Your family is embarrassed by you. The Rock came back not to help you but to control you because everyone knows you can't be trusted to lead anything without self-destructing. Your own cousins walked away from you. Your special counsel manipulates you. And now you're so desperate for validation that you'll align with anyone who makes you feel important." That's when Roman's music hit, and the tribal chief sprinted to the ring. Not walked. Sprinted with the intensity of a man completely unhinged. Security was running behind him trying to catch up, but Roman hit the ring before anyone could stop him. What followed was one of the most brutal on-air assaults in WWE history. Roman grabbed Punk and started delivering chair shots not to the back, which is standard wrestling practice, but to Punk's already injured ribs. You could hear Punk screaming in pain. The crowd went from cheering to legitimately concerned for Punk's safety. Referees flooded the ring. Roman threw them off like they were children. More wrestlers came out: Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, several others, and Roman fought through all of them. He was like a man possessed, completely focused on destroying CM Punk regardless of consequences. The most disturbing moment came when Roman grabbed Punk by the hair, pulled him close, and screamed directly in his face, "You want the truth? The truth is I own this company and I can end you whenever I want. Then he hit Punk with another Superman punch that knocked Punk completely unconscious. That's when Netflix's broadcast cut to black. No commercial break. Just black screen for almost 15 seconds before cutting to a panic-looking commentary team. Michael Cole's voice was shaking as he said, "We apologize for the technical difficulties. We're working to restore the broadcast." But it wasn't technical difficulties. WWE deliberately cut the feed because what was happening in that ring was too violent, too real, too legally problematic to show. Audience members in the arena recorded on their phones, and that footage is now everywhere on social media despite WWE trying to have it taken down. The videos show Roman continuing to attack Punk even after he was unconscious. They show medical staff begging Roman to stop. They show The Rock running down to the ring not to join the attack but to physically pull Roman off, and Roman almost hit The Rock before recognizing his cousin. When the broadcast came back, CM Punk was on a stretcher being taken out of the arena with a neck brace on. Roman Reigns was being physically escorted out by a dozen security personnel and local police officers who'd been called to the venue. CM Punk was taken to a local hospital where he was diagnosed with 3 broken ribs, a broken nose, a concussion, and what doctors are calling severe trauma to the torso. He's expected to be out of action for a minimum of 3 months, possibly longer depending on how his body heals. But here's what's absolutely infuriating: WWE's official statement released 2 hours after the incident said an altercation occurred during tonight's Raw broadcast. The matter is being taken seriously and is under internal review. That's it. No apology to Punk. No condemnation of Roman's actions. Just corporate nothing-speak designed to avoid legal liability. Wrestlers backstage are furious. Seth Rollins reportedly went into Triple H's office demanding that Roman be suspended or fired. Drew McIntyre posted on social media, "There's a difference between intensity and criminal assault. What I witnessed tonight crossed every line." Even wrestlers who typically stay out of controversies are speaking up because what Roman did was indefensible. Here's where this gets potentially catastrophic for WWE and Roman Reigns. CM Punk could press charges. What Roman did attacking Punk in the trainer's room, then attacking him again on live television despite Punk already being injured, that's not a wrestling storyline. That's assault and battery. Legal experts who've reviewed the footage say Punk would have an incredibly strong case if he chose to pursue criminal charges or a civil lawsuit. The initial backstage attack happened in a non-wrestling environment where there's no implied consent to physical violence. The on-air attack continued even after Punk was clearly unable to defend himself. WWE could argue it was all part of the show, but the fact that they cut the feed suggests even they recognized it had gone beyond entertainment into actual violence. That makes their legal position extremely vulnerable. And if Punk does pursue legal action, it opens WWE up to discovery, meaning CM Punk's lawyers could subpoena internal communications, find out if WWE officials knew Roman was unstable, determine if proper safety protocols were followed. This could expose institutional problems far beyond one incident. What's becoming clear is that Roman Reigns is psychologically unraveling. The pressure of maintaining the tribal chief character for 4 years, the family dynamics with The Rock's return, the constant need to prove himself, it's all created a mental state where Roman can no longer separate the character from reality. When Punk attacked his ego by suggesting he needed The Rock, it hit the deepest insecurity Roman has, the fear that he's not actually as great as he's positioned himself to be. That his entire reign was built on family name recognition rather than personal merit. That without The Rock's star power, Roman is just another wrestler. Psychology experts watching the footage note Roman's behavior shows signs of what's called narcissistic rage. When someone with a fragile ego experiences what they perceive as a fundamental attack on their identity, they respond with disproportionate violence because they're literally fighting for their psychological survival. This isn't a heel being a good villain. This is a person having a breakdown on international television, and WWE allowed it to happen because it creates compelling content even though it's destroying a human being's mental health. The Rock posted a video on social media 3 hours after the incident, and his message was surprisingly somber. "What happened tonight is not what our family stands for. Roman is my family and I love him, but love sometimes means holding people accountable. I'm working with WWE and the family to make sure Roman gets whatever help he needs." That statement is loaded with implications. Whatever help he needs suggests The Rock recognizes Roman needs psychological intervention, not just anger management. And the fact that Rock posted this publicly rather than handling it privately suggests he's creating distance between himself and Roman's actions, protecting his own brand while family implodes. February 9, 2026 will be remembered as the night Roman Reigns' rage destroyed CM Punk's body and possibly his own career. This wasn't wrestling. This wasn't entertainment. This was a violent assault that has legal, medical, and psychological consequences that will reverberate through WWE for months or years. CM Punk is in a hospital recovering from injuries that might end his in-ring career. Roman Reigns is facing potential suspension, termination, or criminal charges. And WWE is desperately trying to control a narrative that exposed just how dangerous their workplace culture has become when egos, pressure, and violence collide without proper oversight. What's your take? Should CM Punk press charges? Does Roman deserve a second chance or immediate termination? Is WWE liable for allowing this to happen? The comments section is going to be explosive. Tell us where you stand. If this video gave you the complete story with all the disturbing details, destroy that like button and share this everywhere. Subscribe to Wrestling News CC because this situation is developing hourly and will cover every legal filing, every medical update, every consequence of the night Roman Reigns lost control and nearly ended CM Punk's career in the most brutal attack modern wrestling has ever witnessed.